Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Community logo concerns are finally addressed, and are the reasons behind recent parking changes justified?
Also, administrators answer student questions at the Q-Union just hours ago. Lastly, the Yale game is this weekend. What is Quinnipiac going to do to prepare for this game?
All this and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Chris Stacy.
And I'm Sarah Schreiner. Tonight we start our show with one of the most important events of the year here at Quinnipiac, the State of the Union. President Leahy and others spoke to the student body, and students asked administrators some tough questions. Mike Iozzo has the story.
The State of the Union address was held on Wednesday, February 22nd. This event is a panel discussion put on by the SGA to give students the opportunity to talk with administrators.
Yeah, I think Quinnipiac University and the town of Hampton probably have the best relations that we've had in all those 30 years right now.
The exciting part as a result of that is we're in the final steps of negotiating our contract with Chartwell's to really enhance the dining experience.
We asked Student Body President Joey Mullaney and Quinnipiac President John Leahy why they thought this event was so important.
It's not really important for us, it's important for the student body. So one thing we pride ourselves on is being the voice of the student body.
Certainly any time we can give students an opportunity to ask questions of senior administrators at the university about current plans and policies and plans for the future, the more information we can give students and then the better we can answer their questions, I think is always a plus.
The SJA hopes to continue this event in the future. I'm Mike Iozzo reporting for Q30 News.
After much debate, Quinnipiac has finally changed the controversial U in the logo of the university. The university released a new logo which includes a completely uppercase university last Friday. There were students and faculty at the university who originally took an issue with the lowercase u in the university, so much that a petition was circulating. The word university in the logo was not used in branding when they created the department and the group logos, so this will not change and lead to any major issues. But minor changes will need to be made. More parking restrictions upset the students, but when they learned for the reason, the changes made their emotions only intensify. Janessa and Dario has the full story.
Students usually see them, avoid them, and sometimes even ignore them. Quinnipiac's public safety officers rarely find themselves on the students' good side.
I feel like QU public safety officers are very annoying. I feel like, yes, they are trying to do their job and keep us safe, but at the same time, I feel like they give students a hard time.
Don't let their job title fool you. Public safety officers are people too. Although, Parking and Transportation Coordinator Shannon Grasso is completely aware of how students feel.
On the surface, no one likes public safety. And I joke around, I say I'm the #1 most hated person on QU, and that's because I enforce the parking, the fines.
But Officer Grasso understands the students' struggles better than you would think, considering she's a student herself.
I actually started taking classes here when my middle son got accepted. I thought, how cool would it be if I was to, take a class just to kind of remind myself of what it was like.
She is currently taking an Italian class with Professor Dominic Carraro. Why Italian, you ask?
Actually, Italian is on my bucket list. It's something I've always wanted to do.
Just because she works in public safety doesn't mean Officer Grasso receives any special treatment.
And I'll tell you, the professors don't give me a break. They expect the same work.
She even deals with the same parking issues as the rest of the students.
It just happened to be an extra cold, rainy day that I decided, I'm going to drive to class. Well, when I got over to the engineering comm building, there were no spaces. I actually had to drive all the way back to where I normally park and then walk in the rain. I was 10 minutes late for class. I was soaking wet. I walked in, I'm like, the parking.
The lesson here, there is more to QU public safety officers than just their job. Janessa Andiorio.
Q-Thon hosted their annual For the Kids Night this Monday in Burke-Con. The Morale Committee revealed their morale dance that all dancers will be learning the night of the event. There were vendors, games, and food trucks. Students were able to pie a management team member, and 2 children from the Connecticut Children's Medical Center were in attendance. We caught up with the morale chair, John Kaczynski, who told us more about the FTK night.
It was mainly like a mini Q-thon to get everyone excited for it. We had 2 miracle children there, Emma and Shamar, and it was mainly for them. They had a great time. Turnout was well, and again, just a mini Q-thon. We're getting excited for the real thing.
The political world has yet to cool down. After protests, appointees, and court decisions, thankfully we have Callie Keys here to give us a political scoop. Callie, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. And the news on Trump continues. Trump has appointed Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster as his new National Security Advisor Monday. Trump made the announcement shortly after interviewing candidates to replace Michael Flynn, who was forced out of office after withholding information from Vice President Mike Pence about a call with Russia's ambassador. The Trump administration has announced they are planning to release the revised executive order on immigration as early as this week. Trump has said that the revision will both protect the people and will now pass through the courts. Sources have said that this new order will now clarify a point that had many confused with the original. Green card holders will not be impacted. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly said this week, quote, "The president is contemplating releasing a tighter, more streamlined version of the first executive order," end quote. With the backlash the original executive order received, Kelly said that officials are working on a phase-in period for parts of the order before they will take full effect. This new order is expected to address the concerns of the Ninth Circuit Federal Court. The original order interfered with the traveler's due process rights according to the court's rulings. Travelers were given no notice of restrictions, which was an issue for those with current or pending visas. Kelly said the goal was, quote, "to make sure that there's no one, in a sense, caught in the system of moving from overseas to our airports, which happened on the first release," end quote. And with another week, another series of protests. Protesters in cities across the country took to the streets on Monday for Not My President's Day rallies with a strong anti-Trump message. In New York's Columbus Circle, protesters held signs with the word "no" in different languages. And in Los Angeles, protesters gathered at City Hall holding signs saying "no ban, no wall." These rallies are in relation with last month's Women's March and the upcoming Tax Day March on April 15th. The number of protesters at each demonstration and the amount of different issues under the presidency is historically unusual. Protesters who have supported the "no" message feel as though their efforts have been successful so far. That's all I have for this week's political update. Back to the desk.
With the Yale hockey game coming up this Friday, the Student Programming Board is organizing a Spirit Week for the game. Yesterday, SPB was making and giving out pennants in the piazza for students to decorate for the rival on the ice. Tonight at 9:30, there will be a paint night in the lower CAF for the first 50 people who show up. Then tomorrow during the day, students can take pictures with Boomer the Bobcat right outside the Student Center. This is all in preparation for the game on Friday at the TD Bank Sports Center.
Yale tickets are hard to come by here at Quinnipiac. Brenna Oracoli took to campus to find out how this year's ticket sales went.
It's the most anticipated game of the year, Quinnipiac men's ice hockey versus Yale. This year, we saw many different techniques on how students bought and sold their golden tickets.
This year, what we tried to do was to slow the process down in terms of allowing students to get into the system, and introduced a CAPTCHA, which allows it asks for students to provide certain information, whether it's clicking on images or asking for letters or a series of numbers.
Students started refreshing the ticket portal as soon as the clock struck 10 o'clock. Unlike years before, the Wi-Fi and servers did not crash, but students were still stressed.
I live in a suite, so it was like 8 of us, and we all just got into like our common room, we had our laptops out, and like we kept refreshing, and it kept doing the like not a robot thing.
It kept having us, we would refresh the page, and then it would be like click 4 boxes that have cars or store signs.
I was in my friend's room. We went on about 15 minutes beforehand. As soon as it hit 10 o'clock, we hit refresh, and then we all scrambled.
Similar to years past, students took to Facebook to sell their tickets. But this year, many sales were donated to various Quinnipiac organizations instead of being pocketed.
I think it's like awesome that people do that. Like when I heard that people sell them, I thought they just sold them for their own profit, but it's so cool that they donate the profits to charity.
I actually think that's kind of smart. Like it's better than doing it for like getting money for yourself. So I think using it for Q-thon is, I don't know, I'm not mad about it. So
I think that if you get a ticket and you end up not being able to go, that's okay. But people who just get tickets to then make money off of them, I don't think that it's a good school spirit.
As game day approaches, be sure to stay up to date with Q30 Sports and tune in for the Bobcat Game Day Special Edition.
I'm Brenna Oricoli reporting for Q30 News.
The rivalry game against Yale has sports on everyone's mind.
That's right, Chris. When we get back from break, we have your full sports update, as well as some heartwarming stories about the love fans have for their teams or players. Stay with us.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
And welcome into Studio 125.
So what? So what?
If you score 40 points in a basketball game, we all know you play Quinnipiac Intramurals. We all know you love to shoot the rock.
Well, if you think that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, what I'm about to say, I guess, is going to be pretty ridiculous in your book. But I'm going to say yes, there is a controversy.
I'm getting ready to punch the ball as it lands right in front of another monument player.
Coming up on hashtag that. We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that.
Family, friends, relatives, distant relatives.
And when you put it all together,
we use the word a lot here. I think we talk about love here, and they're really the two probably most important ingredients in the recipe.
Reporting in Providence, Maury Hirschgord, Q30 Sports.
We're going to get this theme going here. My colleague MJ Baird will catch you up on all things you need to know about Quinnipiac athletics.
MJ, what do you have for us?
Well, Sarah, I have quite a lot for you today, and let's start out with the men's basketball. Last Friday, they took on Fairfield up at the TD Bank Sports Center. Let's take a look at some of the action. Last Stags, 73-71, the Bobcats won, but it was a last-second beater. But from the man you're here, Peter Kiss, what a game he had last night played. Could he do it again? Well, that's a pretty good start. We're in the second now. Chase Daniels, and this ball is going in, I guess. Chase Daniels with the celebration all the way down the court, too. Quinnipiac leads 75-74 after this one. But look at this. Peter Kiss, 6 seconds left in the game, puts the Bobcats up. Well, 30 seconds is time in basketball, but Peter Kiss says, hold on, let's slow the time down, and I'm going to slow it down for you here. Peter Kiss, what a block right off the glass. Free throw line now, knocking down the free throws. Quinnipiac by.
Wait until next week to let drama unfold. Now,